Welcome to the Tay and Todd Washington Commanders podcast. This is your co-host Tay and Todd. I am feeling good. First time back. Just got back from Mexico, and I was there for the name change, so I was able to see it via, live streaming through the group chat. Todd, we are the Commanders. How you feeling?
It's crazy that we're not like joking about it anymore because we've done this kind of thing before. I get used to things fast, but it still feels crazy every time I refer to them as the Commanders. So that we are the Commanders doesn't feel so crazy. The new logo, the new uniforms, all that doesn't feel crazy. But anytime during this episode or talking to anyone else, and I'm like, I wonder what the Commanders will do at quarterback. Then it feels like I'm talking about a different team. I'll admit that. But overall, I'm doing okay, and more than anything, I am happy this process is over, and now it's just a matter of getting people on board or back on board with the name. How are you feeling, Commander Tay?
If you would have asked me this like 4 weeks ago, I would have been like, no, heck no, no Commanders. Now, after a week, a little under a week to kind of ponder,
5 days.
I absolutely love it.
You love the name?
I like the name. I like the name because honestly, it brings like a whole different element. People use that word without even noticing it.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about it because you can. I mean, obviously, go commies. You got that stuff, but I really like what they did with the name brand. Obviously, that's not the name I wanted, but it hasn't taken me. That's not my first choice, but I really like the jerseys, as we'll hit on a little bit later. And the process of letting it out, I mean, I think Jason did a great job for as long as he could to kind of
keep the secret, guy.
Keep the secret.
The leaks. Yeah.
It's kind of hard to do when
it is
you got people and Nike that work there.
Yep, New Era and
flying over. And,
right. There's only so much you can do.
Exactly. So, I mean, on that aspect, I think Jason did a wonderful job. The team name, I think, is going to warm up to a lot of people. Obviously, it sounds weird at first, but that's with anything. That's with anything.
Right. So, okay.
Good. I like it.
Okay. Let's do this then. Because, we're going to talk about the name and all that stuff on this episode. And then after that, future episodes is going to be football. So we can just cover all the name stuff here. So what we can do is let's just talk about all the different kind of elements to the name and the rebrand and the announcement and all that stuff. And let's rate 1 to 10 how we feel they did or how we feel about it personally. That works. That sounds good.
Yeah, you said do what now? You said
like take each element, like the name itself, the logo, the designs, the jerseys, the announcement, all that stuff, and then rate it 1 to 10 how much we like it or how well we feel the organization did with it. Okay. So let's start with keeping the leak sealed. So let's kind of do it. How 1 to 10, what would you rate their job of keeping the leak sealed throughout this process?
Say almost a 10. And I say that because even though that slip up was on the screen and everything else, people still wasn't 100% sure that it was Commanders.
Yeah.
Or people still thought, like us, we thought it was Wolves. Like, it's no way, So although we knew, we really wasn't 100% sure what the name was going to be. So in that aspect, I give it a 10. But overall, I would say probably an 8. I think they did a very good job with it. I think
8.
so.
Okay. I'd probably go, you kind of reminded me about that part, which we were trying to figure out if that was intentional or not, and it seems like it wasn't intentional. I'll go with a 6. There was only so much you could do. The guy who said, his friend at New Era, like there's nothing you could do about that. The picture of the like specifications for a specific shirt or design, there's nothing you could do about that. The helicopter thing and the tweet, like someone outside of the team store day of, maybe they don't care at that point. In my mind, you could put up black curtains in front of the team store if you wanted to.
Definitely.
But maybe at that point it was like, they didn't care. But I will say I have to knock them for that NBC thing. And I'm not so much knocking Jason because not everything goes in front of Jason's desk or passes his eyes before it goes out. Mm-hmm. Somebody in that video department screwed up. Like, I don't know how, but I'll probably give him a 6. So now let's move on to the announcement. You saw the Today Show announcement.
I didn't get to see that, but I was
Okay.
following through, and I saw that the team, yeah, that was a little sloppy.
Yeah.
That was just sloppy. I'm not going to give it a number. I think whatever you just
No, you gotta give you gotta give
zero,
it.
one,
Okay, one.
one.
Okay.
Give it one.
Yeah, the Today Show thing. So the video that they tweeted out is fantastic. It's phenomenal. And the director's cut is even better. That should have been the video itself. And then the Today Show though was pretty terrible. That is the one area where I can give credence to. You were planning this for all this time, and that's what happened. That's the one area, because it felt like there was no plan, Tay. It felt like they got on there and they were just like, Doug, you want to say what the name is? Okay, all right. What's the name? We are the Commanders. So there's a lot of better ways that could have happened.
Yeah.
And then the event afterwards on stage, you knew that was kind of going to be, it was really just a press conference. You knew it was going to be awkward. It was freezing cold, first thing in the morning. There's definitely other ways I imagine the announcement. So I'd probably give them like a 3 for the announcement. The video was very good. The videos were very good, but everything else, no. So now let's say the name itself, Commanders.
Commanders?
1 to 10.
Give it a 7 or 8.
Which one?
8.
Okay. Why?
I really like the name. I just really like I just like the whole concept. I think when you think of the name, you got to think of the whole
brand. Yeah.
The whole brand.
I agree.
And I think with what they're trying to do as far as being leaders, not only in the community, but also in the NFL, I think it says a lot. And you look at it, and I know you posted a couple things on Twitter about just seeing the name stacked up against other names. It really is not that bad. I mean,
right.
It sounds like an arena kind of team.
Yeah,
but you can get some
because it's new.
There.
No, I agree. I agree. He's at an 8.
Yeah, I give it an 8. I give it a solid 8, and that's for the fact that the whole. I'm looking at it not just the name. Obviously, the name is but there's more to a name than just a name. And so I love the whole concept. And then
okay, well, all right. How about this? Because we'll do that separately. Just the name itself. Just the name. Yeah.
I give it like a 6.
Okay. Gotcha.
5.
Gotcha.
6. Yeah.
Okay. I'm with you. I'd go 5 right in the middle, because I don't think it's bad and I don't think it's like good. But like you said, Tay, when you look at it outside of the context of this being a new name now, imagine that all 32 NFL teams were receiving their names right now. Commanders would not stick out positive or negative one way or the other. Chargers would stick out negatively. Steelers and Packers would stick out negatively. So would Dolphins. Browns would stick out negatively. Honestly, Colts is random. I feel like the Bengals and the Lions, those would probably be the cooler ones, because of the animal element. Commanders would, I think, be right in the middle. I think it would just be like, okay, Commanders, whatever. So the name itself, Tay, I think we were kind of on the same page where we were part of the Wolves thing. And even Wolves, like the name itself wasn't the main thing. It was the brand, right? But after Wolves, there was no name that either of us loved.
Nope.
Right? At that point, there was names we hated.
Yeah.
There was names that were just whatever. So I'd go a 5 on the name Commanders. Now, though, the brand. What would you rate the brand Commanders?
The brand Commanders like a 9.
Okay.
Then I give it.
We'll include the logos in that. Not the jerseys, but we'll include the logos and the script and all that.
It took me when I saw the jerseys initially. Well, we're not talking about the jerseys. I give it a 9. 8 to 9, because I love the whole concept behind it. Ron Rivera, I just want to go on a little spill for a second, because a lot of people like fire Ron Rivera, fire Ron Rivera. You got to think, and he's on the hot seat, and they're saying all this stuff.
Yep.
You got to think, if there was what other coach in the NFL or growing or coming into a new situation, a mess like Washington, would be able to survive all of this stuff that he went through. Right. You got to think about the name, the rebrand. You got to think of the lawsuits with Dan Snyder and the firing of all these people and getting to the Nick and
Dwayne Haskins strip club.
Yeah, all that stuff. You got to think.
Alex
if
Smith.
we would have had like a young guy coming up, like who are they suggesting? Urban Meyer.
Oh my goodness.
Come on, he would have
Oh
been
my
like, would he
God.
even survive?
Could you
He barely
imagine?
survived in
He
Jacksonville.
didn't
So
survive in
he
Jacksonville.
didn't. He
Right.
didn't. So I'm saying we need to calm down with the fire around Rivera stuff
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
think him and Mike Tomlin were probably the only two guys that could handle this situation right now. So I cut him a lot of slack. So I went on that. But what we were
No,
talking
yeah,
about,
yeah. Say what you got to say, man.
the rebrand,
The design,
the
the
design,
logos and the design.
I love the W. Oh my goodness, the W
This
just
W?
pops up. Oh my goodness, I love it. I absolutely love it. It's just like something about that burgundy and that. It just seems like that burgundy W looks a lot more shinier and like glossier.
Yeah, than the Washington football team W.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Then I watched the football team W. So I like that aspect, and I like the whole thing around it. Is just like being leaders and
Right.
changing that stigma of Washington and being just a leader in the community, and not only in the community but around the NFL. So I think it's a good name. It's a safe name. I like the rebrand and as a whole. I think you just gotta. I've already bought in. As soon as they changed it, it didn't take me long to like. All right, well, let's go. Forget
Yeah.
the past. Let's move
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
future. Because personally, the Redskins, I just don't remember anything good from. I mean, we had a few couple years of playoffs and a lot of disappointment, a lot of scandals, a lot of overpaying players, and I'm ready to start this new regime and just put all that in the past. I'm sorry to the older
Yeah.
generation, whoever's watching, but it's Commander football, and this is all I'm not going to forget the Redskins, but
Yeah.
I'm all in for Commander. So
Yeah.
I give it a 8 to 9,
Which one?
8.5.
Okay, so the logos, the crest, the overall design of the actual when it says Washington and Commanders, in the double lines, I would give that an 8. I like it. They made a great decision getting rid of the People's Team. First of all, that would have been horrible, and the whole Washington D.C. Football Commanders thing. I like this W right here that I'm using as a backdrop just because. People say that it's kind of that it's like a 70s. It looks like a kid made it. I don't know. So many NFL logos are very simple. They are just the Giants is NY, the Cowboys is a star with like 3 different layers. I think that this is simple, and I think that it's cool, especially when you see the 3D element in there.
Yeah, for sure.
That's cool to me. I like that. And then I think the crest is a nice touch. No other team in the NFL has that, if I'm not mistaken, right? And then just overall, it looks fresh and it looks modern. And it's the crest isn't simple. This is simple, but I'm fine with simple. Also, that can be tweaked. The logo can be changed. It can be modified. So this is not set in stone. The W for Washington football team, that was really simple. This is a a juiced up version of that. So I'd give them an 8 overall for the design and the brand. And the more I see it, the more I've come to like it. And again, this is saying that, or if anyone who's watched our show or seen it, that we were not fans of Commanders, being the Commanders. It's just more of an acceptance now that it's here, seeing the positives and letting it grow on us. And then the jerseys. What would you rate the jerseys 1 to 10?
10. Initially, I was skeptical.
Yeah.
But after doing my research and seeing all the stuff that's added in there, like the details, the minute details of it, we're the only team in the NFL with this type of jersey, and teams will probably start following our lead. So I think we're starting to be trailblazers in this aspect of getting a step before the other teams do.
Yeah.
Also, for those who are redesigning jerseys on Twitter, just stop. I mean, just stop. Please stop. Like, it's not like what you're making is cool, but it's just not like it's over. The white jerseys are tough. The burgundy is super tough. The black is super, super tough.
Yeah.
So just for those on Twitter who are listening that are redesigning jerseys, I'm sorry, but I'm just tired of seeing it on Twitter of you trying to remake the jerseys. Just let them be. They're already tough as it is. And maybe you can help redesign the 4th jersey, but for these 3, I think they're good enough. Yeah.
So let me pull up the 3. So I'm gonna go a 9 on the jerseys. There were honestly Honestly, I had a couple more. I really just have one thing I would want that could be tweaked in my opinion. On the burgundy home jerseys, the Commanders up here is pretty big. I think that it's kind of, but other than that, like I didn't like the W, but now I like the W. I think I didn't like the flag is cool in the back. I am a big fan of matching top and bottom jerseys. I mean, the same way we've loved the all white. I love the all white, the all burgundy. I would have even liked to see them wear those color rushes, despite them looking like a bottle of mustard.
Same.
I would have liked it. I like that. Now, I don't necessarily know if that will be their whole thing, but the way they presented them is that way, and I love that. The pants are very simple, and I like it. I'm cool with it. Like, there could be stripes. I think maybe the black pants do have a stripe. The burgundy and the white ones, I don't think they do, but that's fine with me. I'm cool with the simplicity in the pants. The burgundy ones are your ode to the previous ones. They're the most similar to the previous ones. The numbers are yellow on the inside. I like it. The white one is definitely the most unique one, where you don't really have much of the gold, which is really yellow on there, but you got the black outline, but the gradient diamond shaped shading inside of the numbers like that is very cool to me. I like having a first take. I like being the first team to have that. People don't like that. I like it. And again, these are things that can be modified if they don't work out, but I like being unique in that way. The Redskins and the Washington football team jerseys were what they were, and I'm not saying they were bad, but they were just dated. They needed to be refreshed. And now some people would say that this is too refreshed. Okay, that's fine. Like, everyone can have their opinion. For me, it's not. I like fresh and new. So I like that. The white is cool, and I think the white will be especially cool. You can throw black pants on, you can throw burgundy pants on, and I think that would be cool. But then the black jerseys, man, that was one of the main things we wanted this whole time, was a all black jersey. This is proof that Jason Wright and the people in that organization are definitely listening and doing the things that they can do that the fans ask for, because they can't do everything, but the things that they can do, they're doing. The black jerseys was one of them. I was in several focus groups or meetings with Jason or with Julie or people in the organization, and every time it came up, all black jerseys, every time. Well, there you got all black jerseys. And even people who didn't love the all black jerseys, a couple guys who are great guys, like Hawk Farmer Chris, great guy, Corey Sanchez, check out his YouTube. Both great guys, so I'm not saying anything negative about them. But I was recording with them before, and we were talking, me and a couple, I think it was me and George Carmi. Maybe one of the person were saying, we want black jerseys, and they were saying, no, they didn't want them. It's not Washington. And I was like, I'm telling you guys, black jerseys will be great. And now that they've been released, they love the black jerseys, right? So, people are being converted. I think they did a great job. People say they look like the Steelers. They don't look like the Steelers. I mean, you can make the number burgundy, but I think then it's too dark on the black. You have to go with the brighter color, which is the gold. The Steelers use yellow. Washington's gold is closer to yellow. But overall, I mean, the shoulders aren't the same. You don't have the stripes or any of that. The helmets are very, very different. I love it. I love the new jerseys. The more I look at them, the more I like them. And I mean, we haven't even seen the players wear them. And I think once the players wear them, they'll look even better. I understand the nostalgia of liking the older jerseys. I get that. But objectively speaking, the new jerseys are better. Like, in my opinion, they're just better. They're fresh and new, and I was so ready for fresh and new. So I'd give the jerseys a 9. At first, I didn't like the W on the black helmet, but now I kind of like it. I think it was Jonathan Allen's helmet that made it look really stupid.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, it's a rebrand, so the jerseys are not going to be the same. Like, people have to
exactly.
Like, they're just not.
They're not. Why would they be? That you can't go with the new with the old. Exactly. It's new or it's old. You got to pick one or the other. Yep. So okay. So overall, we give them pretty good scores. And then you weren't at the parking party. Let me talk about that, because I would give them a 10 for that. For one, we spoke on the phone with Jason, and he was asking us questions about how to get fans kind of engaged or on board with the name. And we were saying one of the main things is to get merchandise out there and be willing to give merchandise away and give away as much free stuff as you can, right? Just the more free, the better. And they were doing, I'm not saying that they were doing it because we said it or trying to take credit. I'm just saying we gave that feedback at that parking party. They gave away, each of those bags, they gave out probably $100+ worth of stuff. I mean, you got the hat, the 2 scarves, you got the flag, you've got the magnet, you've got the suitcase tag thing. There was probably, if you were to look at all the stuff when they have it available online, I'm sure it'd be over $100. And then they had the play for a bunch of alumni there to sign stuff, take pictures. They had the new helmets there, had the Lombardi trophies there, had a store, had food, had the W to take pictures with, had free popcorn and hot chocolate, had go-go music playing. Then they had videos playing on the big screen, and it was freezing out there. It was freezing. 1, 2. There were way more people than I expected, but they are really putting forth an effort, Tay, to engage with fans. I mean, then they had the drive around with all the the burgundy and gold Teslas, which was great.
Mm-hmm.
They lit up DC on Tuesday night or Wednesday night. They had something driving around, I think, yesterday, the day before. They are really trying hard. I give credit to the people that are there now. Jason Wright, Joey, Colby Begovich, Julie Donaldson, and the people that are working under them are not the same and are not of the same mind or energy as the old people who worked here. Now, you may still not like all of the decisions that they make, but where they are coming from and why they're doing and how much they care about the things that they're doing and the fans regard it, it's very different. Okay, so just make that clear. You don't have to like them, but I'm telling you that they are working hard and they care about their jobs and how well they do their jobs. So I'd give the parking party a 10 for sure. So what would you say then to the fans who don't like, right, or just having trouble, with the fact that they are no longer the Redskins or even the Washington Football, they are something new? What is your advice?
My advice is just embrace it. It's no other. It's not. There's no going back.
Mm-hmm.
If not, just find another team.
Yeah.
But I think they did a good job with keeping as much as they could, as far as the rebrand, as far as keeping connections with the past, as far as the color scheme, burgundy and gold.
Yeah. Right.
Being the main thing. So I just say embrace it. I mean, we're still Washington. We just don't have the Redskins, and let's just embrace it. And I think it's going to be some good things to come here in the future. I think winning cures all. You get a quarterback, and I think you can. I think people will get around to it as soon as they start winning some games. I think it'll get everybody's mind off of it. I think by the time the preseason starts, everybody will be pretty much over it.
Yeah, I think so. Especially this is a big season; they got to have some success. Why Commanders is probably a big question. Like anyone who had no idea, say if we went into a coma right after they said they were not using the name Redskins anymore, and then we woke up right after they announced Commanders, we would be like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Again, anyone who wasn't a fan, who wasn't following along, who didn't have an idea of Commanders at all and is hearing about it is like, what? That's the best you could come up with? Okay. Like, all right, sure. But the whole thing all along, in my opinion, has been that the name will not tie in with the history, the name itself. Because you have to think about what name could directly correlate with the history of an organization that had to change their name because that name was deemed racist, right? So what name could you use from a brand that you can't use anymore? Mm-hmm. The only one that I can think of is Hogs. That's the only one. But then do you design the brand of one of the largest sports franchises in the NFL with goals to be even larger around a pig? Because at the end of the day, hogs are pigs. I understand the hogs were a great thing here, but I'm just talking about from a brand perspective, hogs are pigs. You can make them look cool. Yes, I know. But hogs are pigs, right? Like I'm not. Okay. So you kind of rule out hogs, and burgundy and gold is kind of too chunky and too big and long. So pause. So Commanders, why Commanders? I've tried to think of other names. You couldn't do Wolves or Red Wolves because of whatever, if you say it was trademarking. In my opinion, they didn't go with the Wolves or Red Wolves either because Dan Snyder from the beginning wanted Commanders, or because with the Wolves or Red Wolves, it couldn't be your own because so many entities exist.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, WashingtonWolves.com is taken. Wolves.com is taken. RedWolves.com is taken. You could do WashingtonRedWolves.com if Red Wolves was even an option, which I don't know that it was. But with Commanders, you can have Commanders.com. You can have @Commanders, right? Mm-hmm. Things of that sort. Like with Commanders, I can't even think of a college team with the name Commanders. They wanted something that was fresh in their own. Mm-hmm. So you're already in that vein, and then Commanders kind of, I guess it fits in with the Capitals and the Nationals and the whole DC idea. It's not the only one. Sure, there's admirals, sentinels, federals, presidents, governors, monuments, whatever. Of all those names, Commanders is the best one to me.
Yeah.
Like as much as I have said before, even that I don't like Commanders, I hated Sentinels. Admirals was stupid. Like those names were all dumber. So Commanders, it's kind of just like the least bad kind of DC-ish name that they could come up with that was safe and wasn't being used because they wanted to make something fresh in their own. And I have to respect that line of thinking. I think Wolves would have been the best received out the gate. But I think Commanders can have its own appeals. You can do the saluting, whatever. It's corny, it's cheesy, but fans latch on to corny, cheesy things all the time. You can call yourself Commander what? Todd or Tate. It's cheesy, it's corny. But again, people are doing it and, it's becoming a thing. So I think Commanders has its own benefits. And at the same time, the history is still the history. The things that happened in the past, the Super Bowls that were won, the players that played for this team, it's the same team. It's a new name. It's a new look, but it's the same team. Can't take the history away from it. This is still the Washington football organization. They were the Braves, then they were the Redskins, then they were the Washington football team, and now they are the Commanders, but it's all still the same team, just under a new name. So I would say, just try intentionally to get used to it. Try to say it. It feels weird, but we'll all get used to it. But it's still the same team. And the line of thinking was, let's have our own brand that we can make our own. We don't have to worry about anyone else coming after it and move forward and kind of center around the city of DC. So that's what I got. I mean, that's how I feel. Same team, new name, new brand, and I'm just ready to roll. And, there's been so much negative response. Like, I understand if people don't like it, sure, are upset. But at a certain point where it's just like whining or crying about it, that's when I'm like, it almost makes me like the name more at that point because people are just being so like that. I can't be that. I can't whine. Exactly. We've made our jokes, Tay. Like, you were Kami Tay. Yeah. Jokingly, we were joking. Yeah. Now that it's real, all right, let's roll with it. We're the Commanders. We'll get used to it.
Yeah. And I think what it does is with the jerseys, I think it allows you're going to get a new generation, and you might be able to get a new generation of people to become fans.
I agree. Everyone that I've talked to of my friends that's not a fan has said the jerseys are fantastic.
Yeah.
The jerseys are fire. So I think, you can draw. You got to, and that's the thing. I understand that, there's a generation that doesn't want to be forgotten about, but there's a generation that needs to be catered to that you're trying to grab. Like, you need the next generation to become fans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was always the hardest part of this rebrand, was finding that balance between doing something that caters to a newer, younger generation that also caters to an older, previous generation.
Right.
That's the hardest part. But I feel like they, at a certain point, if you're planning forward for the future, then that's just what you have to do. Yeah. And the history and the tie-ins to the history will come in the brand, like that crest having the Super Bowl years in it, or like, possibly having a mascot that's a hog, or, that sort of thing, keeping the alumni involved and around. That's where the history ties in the brand, not in the name.
Yeah.
And that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what the field's going to look like, what they're going to do.
Right, me too. Yeah, I'm. That's going to be pretty interesting to see. I think personally, I would like if the W or the crest would be fine, but the crest would be cooler to me in midfield.
Yeah.
What do you? Yeah.
Yeah, I would like the W midfield.
Okay.
And then the crest, like two circles, like I've seen in some pictures. And then the Commanders with the lines in between the lines and
the end zone. Okay, so the crest on the field or in the end zone?
The crest on the field, but like at the bottom, at the 10-yard
line. Like the 25s.
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that'd be cool too. Yeah. That would be cool too. I agree. Yeah, and then
I think it's gonna look tough.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think they'll do it right. I think they'll make it look good objectively. Like, you may not like it because it's not what it was. I get that, but objectively, I think it'll be designed well and executed well. So, yeah, I mean, this was bound to happen. Like I said, Wolves was the only one where you'd have the most strong positive response from fans, but then you still would have had fans that would have said that's random, that's dumb. Why? Because Wolves is even more random than Commanders, because Wolves isn't even like a DC thing. So I'm just ready to roll on, Commander Todd, and I'm reporting for duty. Yeah. Never thought I'd be in the military.
Hey, that's what it is, man. Hey, and the black, that I like that little black patch right there on the jersey, on the black jersey.
Yeah. The thing is, Tay, let September roll around. This team, I'm not even saying anything special, but let them win week 1. A big play happens. First of all, let them trade for a quarterback or something like that. But anyway, let them, week 1, a bomb to Terry McLaurin. People are going to be up in there, saluting and saying, "Let's go Commanders." And people are at the end of the day, as fans, we can be very emotional, and that is most true during games. And when those games are going, and if they're positive emotions because they're winning, man, people are gonna feed right into it. They're gonna be eating it up.
Yep.
No question about that. So, but there is a lot of pressure on this season though, because if you do manage to have a year better than you've had in the last 20 years, you win 11 games or something, assuming you figure something out, or not, you will figure something out, but assuming what you do at quarterback is the right move, then that is the easiest way to make this rebrand connect. On the flip side, if you win 3 or 4 or 5 games, it's going to make it much worse than it already is, right? Like we're bad, we're worse than we were, and now we're not even the same team anymore. So there is a lot of pressure on this year. And when it comes to the quarterback thing, they have to know good and well that they can't just settle for someone even like Jimmy Garoppolo to sell that to the fan base. You have to sell something to this fan base, because things, I think, are getting worse now than before they can get better. And changing the name is ultimately a new low for this organization. So at some point we got to bounce back up, and getting a quarterback this offseason that you can sell to the fan base, one, is critical. Then going to win games with that quarterback is step number 2.
Is it possible that Ron, knowing that the rebrand would be in about 2 years, that Ron focused on building the team first, and then when the rebrand comes, grabbing that guy and saying, all right, we're going to start afresh. We're going to build the team for these 2 years while we don't have a name. And then, boom, once we get that rebrand, we're going to have the team fully built like they pretty much do. They have the table set for the most part.
Yeah.
Once the rebrand to go along with the rebrand, go ahead and do anything possible to get that quarterback. And then from 2022 on, Commanders, you start taking that. Like I said, the thing I love about it is you have a chance to start over and fresh.
Yeah.
And as the Commanders, because the Washington Commanders has no record. They're 0-0. Technically,
yeah.
They're 0-0. So
right.
You kind of got a fresh start. Well, all right, well, we can be like the Steelers, or we can start, and Ron can be a catalyst for that. And I want Ron to be here for the next, like a Tomlin situation,
Right. That's perfect.
Hopefully it'll work out that way. But that's just how I see it. It's possible that Ron was like, you know what, obviously you want to grab your guy when you have him, but I wonder if it was part of the plan to kind of wait until the rebrand to take off and then not look back. But
yeah, I feel like now that it's gotten there, that thought is in their heads. But I don't think last year it was. I think they wanted Matthew Stafford, or Goff maybe, or even Fields. So I feel like now it kind of is in their heads, that can be a cool thing. Not so much a plan, but the perfect setup would have been new stadium, new name, and new quarterback all at the same time. That would have been perfect. Can you imagine that? And that new stadium that'll be pretty cool. But I do think that Ron Rivera and his staff know that they need to do something to sell to fans.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have to know that. You have to know that, on top of the fact that it's your 3rd year, people need to believe in what you're doing. So I think in some way that will feed their aggression, because they also know that they need to win. They need to sell it to fans based on just the move, and then they need to sell it to fans by winning. So you need to sell it to fans on both ends, but you need to start by selling it to fans based on the move.
Mm-hmm.
Signing Mitchell Trubisky is not going to sell it to fans. During the season, you win 10, 11 games, okay, but that's going to be a long 6 months beforehand where people are just like, this is it. Like, really? Like, no.
Yeah.
And I'll be the first one if Mr. Trubisky is the big move, the face of the franchise to go into this season, to say, okay, yeah, I don't know anymore about these guys.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't anticipate that happening at all.
So
yeah. Well, it's over, man. The process is over. I mean, it's and like, there's also, if you ask Jason Wright, he'd say it's just beginning. But the name selection process is over. I am glad it's over too, finally, and that we can just start getting used to something. Even if the name was Wolves, it would have felt weird to say, man, who are the Wolves going to draft this year? Like, no matter what, that was going to feel weird.
Yeah.
But we'll get used to it. I'm just forcing myself to kind of say it.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah.
I called up to the store today. FedEx.
Yeah.
Said, Commanders, and I was just like, okay.
That's wild. Yeah. That's wild. Commanders, team store.
Team store, yeah.
Wow.
Team store. I said, oh man.
So yeah, that feels weird, man. I'm not gonna lie. The Giants, the Cowboys, the Eagles, and the Commanders.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you look at it among other NFL names, it doesn't look weird. It's just saying it and hearing it.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. Exactly. We'll get there. We will get there. But we'll know. This is probably just all the talking we'll do on this, and then now back in the swing of things, we'll start talking about probably quarterback mainly, and maybe some specific options that Washington will hopefully pursue.
All right.
So yeah, that'll be what's on tap next. Good to have you back, Tay. Welcome back. Although I don't know if you're actually happy to be back, but it's good to have you back.
Yeah, it's bittersweet.
Right.
Bittersweet, but it's good to be back and get back in the flow of things. And February should typically it is the shortest month.
Right.
So we'll be combines later this month, right?
Combine, it's March 3rd through 6th now. It was always February. I guess they pushed it back. So yeah.
Got you.
And less than a month from now.
Yeah.
So the combine.
Yeah. In the swing of things, and then that March fly by pretty quick.
Right. Combine is March 3rd.
Like this year went by pretty quick as opposed to previous.
It
seems like.
You mean so far?
So far, yeah.
Okay. I don't know if it feels that way for me just yet, but I think once the Super Bowl ends, that's when I'll be able to start to get a feel for it. When there's literally nothing to talk about in terms of football. But combine March 3rd through 6th. Free agency, new league year March 16th. And then the draft April 28th, I think. Draft NFL 2022, April 28th. Yep. So those are.
That will be the long stretch.
Yes, from March 16th to April 28th.
Yes.
That's the longest one. Yeah.
That will be the one.
Exactly. Well, all right.
We get some what is it called? Hard Knocks.
Oh yeah, that's right. Another year hoping for that. I hope so too. I think. What is it? They were a playoff team in 2021. So I think this year they could be forced to go again. I think, because I think once you make the playoffs, then if you made the playoffs within the last 2 years, I think you can't. But I think that this year they could again. So yeah, that would be awesome. That would be fantastic. So yeah, we'll be back talking about quarterbacks and all that other stuff here real soon. But it's good to have Tay back. Good to be back in the swing of things. Hail to that's another thing. Hail to the Commanders. Hail to the Redskins. Hail to the Commanders. So again, boom, history, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Hail to the Commanders.
Hail to the Commanders.
This is Todd.
This is Tay.